You guys, I'm really excited for this episode because finally Greg's actually doing something, right, baby?
That's right. This is gonna be my favorite ship ever. I don't even care what we're shipping. It's my favorite fandom ever. The Turtledom! Yeah! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The Turtledom's better than the Teen Titans fan, is what you're saying?
No, second.
Okay.
Second, I meant. Second, my second favorite fandom. Well, the thing is, it goes way back for me. I grew up watching the Turtles in the 80s, and, it got me into meditation, yoga, martial arts. It made me who I am in such a big way. So it's like, so let me rephrase it. My first favorite fandom was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Then came Teen Titans.
I'm just happy you know something about this show.
I know a lot, maybe
Okay.
too much. Today's Ship It Show guests are two of my favorite human beings in the whole world, Ciro Nieli and Kevin Eastman. Ciro is, we go way back from the original Teen Titans. He was a director on Teen Titans. Some of my favorite episodes of the original Teen Titans show, he directed us. Not voice directing, but actual animation direction. And Kevin Eastman, everybody knows who Kevin is, the original creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Wow, and this is gonna be rad. Let's get them on.
It's like Good Times meets I Love Lucy.
There it is.
Oh, dancing earlier. It's kind of hard to dance in the window alone.
With Greg and Tara.
My little muse.
Welcome to the
Thank you,
Ship It
guys.
Show.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for today's show because it's the first show out of 300 that Greg has got the guests for.
And I was muted. And did you mute me, Tara?
No!
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I heard you though.
Because maybe I can sit back and let you, because you know everything about this show, right?
I do. I really do. Luckily, this is the one show, maybe out of all the shows we've ever done, that I actually will know a tremendous about, because the Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, made me who I am in a big way today.
Okay, good. So we'll let you have the reins for most of the show. So why don't you introduce our amazing guests?
We have first Kevin Eastman, original creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and his partner Laird, right? I don't know. I don't even know his full name. It doesn't matter to me. Kevin. But bless him up. And then Ciro Nieli, the man who ushered in the 2012 Turtles, created that show, and just has been such a light and a lighthouse in my life. And I love this brother so much. It's so special to have everybody on here saying, Mama Tara Strong, you look beautiful as ever. And this is just exciting because, again, I know a lot about this ship. I mean,
I'm
not
excited.
The ship, but the world. I don't even know who we're shipping, but I ship Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I always have.
Wow, I'm so excited. So who do you want to start with, Cipes? It's your show, baby.
No, I love listening to you talk.
Okay. Well, I'm really excited to have both of you on, and I
love this. This seems like a Teen Titans reunion too. I'm like,
yes, it's true. It's true. I was reading a little bit about the origin story of how it came to be, and it's so fascinating. So Kevin, maybe you want to, in your own words, tell us the origin story for how we got to where we got to today. And my gosh, you've touched so many lives. It's so fascinating. So tell everybody how it all began.
Mikey was the first turtle he drew, by the way.
Yeah, actually, this is a sketch on the hat. It's like the first turtle drawing, but it was Peter and I were we shared a tiny little studio. It was called the Mirage Studio because it was our living room. And one of my favorite things to do to Peter while he was trying to watch one of his favorite TV shows was to annoy him as much as possible. And so one night I did this little drawing of a turtle standing upright with a mask on, but very much inspired by Bruce Lee, thinking that if Bruce Lee was an animal, what would be the stupidest animal that Bruce Lee would be? So fast-moving martial artist, slow-moving turtle. So I did this sketch and I put it on his desk, and I said, "This is going to be the next big thing, ha ha ha." He laughed, and that's a barometer. So he did a sketch, changed some things, and then I said, "Well, if one, why not a group? Like Fantastic Four or X-Men or whatever." So I did a sketch of 4, each with different weapons, and had a title that said Ninja Turtles on it. And when he, I did it in pencil. When he inked it in, he added Teenage Mutant to the title, and we just fell apart laughing. We said, "This is the silliest thing we've ever seen. We've got to come up with a story that tells how these characters could be brought to life." So that was 1983. So 37 years ago.
Yo, I was 3 years old, little baby Cipes.
Oh, I love that so much. And in the beginning, did you foresee that it would be such an international success, loved for so many generations?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. No, we did not. No, we. It's funny. I'm joking only because it's really silly. Peter and I were hugely inspired by comics, and it's in particular a guy named Jack Kirby, who's we were big, huge fans of Jack Kirby, who created / co-created most of the Marvel Universe and many, many other things. And that was our dream, was to follow in his footsteps and write and draw comic books. And so we get so many rejection letters. We decided that let's come up with our own comic, and we'll self-publish it. And even if we don't sell, a single copy, we're following that dream. And so that's why the very first issue of the Turtles is self-contained. It's 40 pages, beginning, middle, and end. And we kill the main bad guy at the end of the story. I'm not giving you any spoilers, but it was only done as a one shot because we didn't think we'd be able to do any more. And thank goodness for all those fans out there that from the very earliest of days, wrote those letters and said, give us more. So we did issue 2 and issue 3, and then it just a short 37 years later, I was drawing on a new turtle book just before I jumped on the line with you guys. So
they're your
it's
babies.
Amazing. But the inspiration that shot into him that day, that grew this huge empire, like he didn't know. It's like these little God shots, right? The universe is like, hey, don't forget, you're here to do this. You're here to make people
It's so
smile.
magical. I remember listening to a philosopher by the name of Terence McKenna speaking about how humanity is evolving in the good ways it is. And part of what he said, Terence, he goes, in a world where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ninja Turtles could show up, he's basically saying we are on the right track as a society towards enlightenment. So the fact that the Turtles was born that day and through that really magical moment, and also if anybody has any of those original issues, you're a millionaire right now.
Yeah. How many of those are out there? How many first issue are out there in the world?
I don't know, but I wish I had kept more of them.
Yeah, right.
I think I know the number, right, Kevin? It's like you guys made 3,000, but only 1,000. Here's as a nerd. Before I made this show, like I have that book. I had it when I was a kid. I got it when it came out, the day it came out. The problem with the book was it didn't travel much across the U.S. because those guys were Northeast United States and they're independents, so it didn't get far. So there was 3,000 copies, 2,000 of which, from what I heard, was that Kevin and Peter used those to sign and sell at comic book appearances or comic show appearances. So if you have one of the 1,000 that somehow got into a store naturally, those are worth even more.
It was when we you're right. I mean, when we started it, we borrowed money from my uncle. We set a budget to print 3,000 copies and take out one ad in a comic book newspaper called the Comics Buyer's Guide, and to sell it for $1.50 plus 50 cents postage. And so we started getting calls from comic stores saying, we've got a lot of fans coming in and asking about your book. Will you sell us some? And probably about 1,500 to 2,000 ended up getting out into comic stores. But it was, like Ciro said quite correctly, it was all East Coast stores. Everybody that saw the thing would call the office, and we ended up working it out. So that's
wow. So world, if you have one at home, like don't spill coffee on it, like that. That's amazing. Ciro, I want to bring you into the conversation and get your origin story so we can marry it all together and see how it became. What role you play in this whole amazing world?
My origin is real boring. It's like kind of like everyone else's. Like my parents had sex and then I came out. There was no turtle comic. There was no. I'm just sitting on the shoulder of this great giant Kevin Eastman.
You're also very humble, Ciro. You are so humble.
It's the same thing. Like I don't do anything. I sit at home. I look at Kevin's books. I look at Jack Kirby books, and I'm just wait. waiting for the next thing to get me. But
I have to say, if there was a sixth turtle, a sixth Italian master artist, I've always said it's Ciro Nieli. And really, that's if you were gonna, that's you got him. You manifested him, Kevin. That's your Ciro is that artist that you're such a legend. Both of you are legendary artists. But it's amazing to watch what you do and what you did with the turtles.
Cipes, you're making me want to go drink like something green. It's amazing.
Thank you. I'm on a juice fast, and I'm at the beach.
I'm sorry. I'm derailing everything.
No, go.
The story I tell about Ciro when I do my little sideshow presentations, because besides the original comic series, one of my all-time favorite turtle entertainment series, which is very, very entertaining, was Ciro Nieli's 2012 series. It's hands down one of my favorites. There's so many cool things, and what I loved about learning more about Ciro, and we spent some time traveling and doing some PR and those kind of things. And growing up, his dad owned a pizza place. So he grew up reading comic books and eating pizza, and was a big fan of the turtles from early on. So when I had met Ciro before he got the gig for Turtles, and was a big fan of the Titans and the Super Monkey Force Co. and so many other things. We have mutual friends, and so I was super thrilled when Ciro got the series. And what he did was this amazingly, wonderfully beautiful thing where he was able to pick from multiple turtle universes, but pick his favorite parts and then hit the reset button, relaunch it, and then pull little bits and pieces from many turtle universes to create a new foundation to tell some absolutely fantastic and amazingly entertaining and sometimes really messed up stories, which are some of my favorite.
I want to talk about that too. I want to talk about just the spectrum of realities and dimensions that the turtles get to exist in is like no other thing in the whole world other than God himself, God herself.
Yeah.
Like, the turtles get to really truly be in every dimension, from the Michael Bay weird, like whatever that is, and to the beautiful work that the 80s turtles was for me. The original turtles just changed my life forever. Again, got me into meditation, not yoga. Actually, yeah, there was a little yoga in there, I'm sure, but Master Splinter taught the turtles to meditate. And I remember sitting on my floor one day and just doing what the turtles were doing. And that was my first time truly meditating with Master Splinter and the turtles, sitting on my living room floor. I'll never forget it. And then I was, Michelangelo every Halloween. All my birthday parties, I had pizza parties at the roller skating ring with my fluorescent.
It's so fun for you that you got to play him. Like, you could die tomorrow, really.
Yeah,
good, right? Good. It's good. Don't die. Please don't die.
No, I'm living.
Ciro, tell us how you got into this world, how you were like sort of a conduit for these characters so people understand your role in it.
Well, I mean, I've always been able to draw. And it's funny, like a lot of what Kevin was saying, like I kind of mirrored a lot of that. And he was a big part of it in my life. I think as a kid, I like most kids, you're not in control of your environment. You're kind of like, tied down to what your parents allow you to. You're not an adult, so I spent a lot of time reading, and there was always pens and paper around, so I was always drawing. My parents owned a restaurant, and I sat there helping them, but a lot of times I had to sit in the corner, and I had to kind of like self babysit. So I was reading a lot, and I was trying to draw, and things like Batman and Superman, and the X-Men, and like the Marvels and the DCs, the big like real shows or comics were, those things were really intimidating to me. They seemed like gods, and I didn't feel like I could be a part of that universe. And when I read Turtles, and I was like 10 years old, there was something, and I'm not saying it wasn't on the same level as those things. It had a different something special, which was there was a charm and a relatability that invited me. And I think at that time, I was going through something where I thought, because all kids do this, they get to around, everyone draws, and you get to around 10, 11, 12, and you start to discover other things. And then that starts to kind of go like, well, all children draw, and that's children's stuff. And now I'm going to be an adult, and I'm going to play sports, and then I'm going to be in the girls and whatever. And you forget about drawing. But Turtles came at this time where like, and it did the opposite. It said to me, hey, these guys did it, and they're doing it really well, and they're inspiring, and you can do it. And I think from that point on, I kind of dug in even deeper and kind of, cemented that I wanted to draw and be an artist in whatever capacity. I still thought I wanted to draw comics at that age. And it wasn't until later when I went to like university and stuff and I got a film degree and all that, I kind of didn't do comics. I did what I would have done in comics, but like in moving motion, which is like sequential storytelling of live action or animation. And I moved to LA and got into, trying to be in film and animation. It's kind of kismet, that I ended up on Turtles, because it was one of those things I put away for several years. I didn't chase Turtles. I wasn't, it wasn't one of those things where I was like, oh, I wish I could make Turtles. But I do know that like every time a Turtle project happened, I would say, oh, there's another Turtle project I'm not going to be a part of. And I would be kind of melancholy. So, but it wasn't until, I got the chance where I went, oh my God, how could I have never not done this? Like this so forged me at such a young age. And then at the same time to be reintroduced to Kevin, because I had met him before through mutual friends, which was like intense for me. I was, Kevin means the world to me.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
but to be able to travel with him, like you said, and for us to build a relationship now, like I can't really imagine my life having gone another way. Like it would have been so empty. So I felt very blessed and I'm very grateful for all these people I'm looking at. Even you, Tara, you're my Raven. Like I loved working on Titans years ago. I mean, it's just like I'm very lucky. So yeah, it's been a funny road, It's like you can't plan it.
Everything happens for a reason, and it happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen.
I think that's true.
Occasionally we think we're in control.
And that's so true. Sometimes you look back and you're like, wow, that was like a really ugly chapter in my life that I read, but then you realize, well, I had to read it to get to this next chapter, which is bigger, better, more authentic, for your higher self, all those things. And, we're so lucky that we're so blessed that we get paid to do what we love. And I think that's one of the other big secrets in life is if you're making money and sustaining your life and you're doing it by doing something that you love, like that's just the biggest gift of all. And then
it's the miracle.
And then why'd you cast Greg Cipes? It's weird.
at the time when
do you remember his audition? Were you both at his audition
for Turtles? There wasn't even really an audition. It was like, because at that time I think Cipes and I were hanging out 24/7 for years. Like literally, like I would wake up and Cipes would be at my door and then we'd spend the whole day together. And one of the things we would do is we would go to this one spot that was like kind of like a sweat sauna steam area. It was like a spa, and it looked like the turtle lair.
Yeah.
It was like because it looked like what I ended up designing as the turtle lair. It was like an underground. It was wet. It was like a sewer. It was tiles and ceramic and I would sit there and we would kind of like meditate and philosophize about life. And when Turtles started coming up and I was like, well, I'm working on Turtles now. And I would listen to Cipes and then more and more I'm like, oh, well, he's just like, I guess Cipes is Michelangelo, I guess. He always has been. I didn't realize it. So I kind of went along with the idea that he was already Michelangelo. And this is like, even for like 6 months, I channeled like Cipes vibe. Because to me, he embodied the human Cowabunga spirit. So like I would draw and it was always Cipes. And the other three guys, I was like, I kind of know who they are, but I haven't met them yet in real life. So when official casting started, the network was like, all right, who we're going to have a hard time. I go, no, well, Cipes is already Michelangelo. So, and they were like, wait, what are you talking about? Like I had convinced myself that's who he was. Aww. And then I realized I had to convince like a room of like 6,000 people, which is different. And then he had to audition, but it was like a proxy, it was like the audition was it was just a technicality, I guess. Like there was no way Cipes wasn't going to be Mikey. And then as soon as he opened his mouth, they were like, oh, okay, he is Michelangelo.
It was so fun. I'll never forget those auditions, man. It was so fun. And I'll never forget the day we again, in our spa sessions, we talk about, because they didn't want to bring the original Cowabunga catchphrase back right in the beginning. And they wanted us to come up with a new idea. So we got to have fun with like coming up with Booyakasha, which
that was nice.
Well, it was us. It was us. And of course, all glories to Papa G, Mr. Eastman, Papa Eastman, Guruji Eastman for inspiring all of this. And it's so amazing that you get to actually witness your infinite creation just roll out and throughout all these dimensions again, from huge, the biggest blockbuster movies many times over and over in the different forms. And it's just like, it must be so surreal for you, bro. I mean, it's surreal for me to play Michelangelo because he is so much of who I am. He gave me so much and still does to this day. You put food on my plate, both of you right now. So thank you.
Well, it's funny. Like I'm going to tell one of my favorite moments of many Cipes moments is the first day I met him. I was doing this gallery show at the Meltdown Comics on Sunset when it was there, and the show has been underway. And Ciro had invited me over the studio a few times, and just this, that, and the other thing. But I was setting up a turtle show there, and this really pleasant person came in, and he's looking around at the stuff that was. We had the first turtle drawing there. We had a bunch of other stuff, and he started telling me about him being a huge fan of turtles and this and that, and I said, well, that's really wonderful to hear. I created him. I don't think you knew who I was at that time or what I looked like.
I didn't.
I think you did one of these, like, if you had water in your mouth, it would have been a spit take, like. But you went like, well, but you just and we started. You go, well, I'm the voice of Michelangelo, and I said, duh, it's perfect. You are Michelangelo. It's like from that minute, I was like, yeah, that's. I feel like you not to belittle your talents, but I don't think you have to do much acting because you fully embody all things.
Well, I am you, and there's so much significance to Michelangelo to me. And that moment, the moment you're speaking of, when I walked into Meltdown Comics, you actually had this really cool replica of your home studio, your drawing studio, literally in Meltdown Comics. They like built a set where you got to see what his area looks like. Where
you guys must be fun at cons. Do you guys get lined up with people either dressing as, we've seen a lot of people dressing as, okay, I already know this is true, so give me like your favorite con story. Think about your favorite con story with either someone asking for a drawing or dressed as the characters or living their lives as these characters, or what they meant or what you meant to them, blah blah blah.
Tara, I got to go to Spain with Kevin for a turtle signing, and I think it was the first time Kevin had ever been to Spain. Yep. And like since Turtles was created. So people were coming up to me, and I would do my turtle head I draw, which takes like 0.2 seconds, and I would throw it, and then I would look up, and there would be like no line, and there would be like 6,000 people for Kevin. And then I would turn, and he was right next to me. And then I would sit. So I got to spend a lot of time sitting. Every single person that came up to Kevin told him that he was responsible for them being alive and that they owed him everything. And if it wasn't for him, that basically they wouldn't have survived. And it just, that witnessing somebody, and Kevin takes the time to be sweet to every single person and listen to their stories. Like, this is true. I'm not just trying to kiss up to you, Kevin, but it really, like, I was like, wow, like it really made me see like the responsibility of what he had done and how special he really was. So that's the most impactful. I mean, because otherwise it's just con, but that was a huge impact to me.
And he's a rock star, dude. He's like his life. When is that movie coming? Because I told you I want to audition to play you.
That's what I want to see. I want to see the Mirage Years, the biopic.
I'll even shave, that'd be the only thing I'd ever shave for, is to play you.
Kevin, do you have a favorite con story or moment?
Well, first, thank you, Ciro, for the kind words. And it really is just like, I love doing the shows, and I feel like, I have the greatest job ever because I have the greatest fans ever. And it's no joke. And I remember once when I was when the Turtles, first time that Peter Laird and I went to San Diego Comic-Con, it was very small. I think they got 7,000 people there that year. And, we're sitting there doing our little $5 drawings, and you kind of hear this, this whisper go through the convention center. It's like, Kirby's here, Kirby's here, Kirby's here. So Peter and I were like, whoa! We just got up and we ran over to where Kirby was. And he was already surrounded by a sea of people. And he was just finishing telling the story about how he and Joe Simon created Captain America. And he finished the story, and everybody's just like hanging on every word. And then the next fan to ask the question was so nervous that he asked the same exact question: how did you and Joe Simon create Captain America? And so Kirby answered it with the same love and passion, and he gave that fan that perfect moment. He didn't make him feel stupid. Just went through this whole glowing story again in the same kind of detail. And I always said, if I'm lucky enough to have one fan, I hope I treat them as well as Jack Kirby treated his fans. And so that's my favorite convention story. So.
Oh, I love that. You must see like a lot of fan art and all kinds of stuff that you've inspired over the years. Since we are the Ship It show, what's your favorite relationship in this world?
Why don't you start, Cipes? Ciro and I've been talking away, so you.
Cipes, what's your favorite ship on the show?
I mean, classic April O'Neil and like all four turtles. You know what I mean?
You just stole Ciro's answer. Is there a time where people are like, oh, we really want April to be with so and so, and we're gonna
turtles love
go off the
April.
wedding? Is there one ship that's really stuck out for you over the years that people seem to gravitate towards?
Man, go ahead.
No, please. There's so much.
Greg doesn't know. Don't ask Greg.
No, I was thinking about Ice Cream Kitty. That's a whole other amazing story. The creation of Ice Cream Kitty.
Oh, okay.
I ship Ice Cream Kitty. I wrote a whole song for her. There's an amazing music video. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
apologize. I
beautiful.
assumed you didn't know
But-
anything. Okay, Ciro.
No, we have a
The
huge.
thing that happened early on, like when I originally pitched the show, there was no like I feel like the early days of shipping in American television, like we were kind of a part of with Raven and Beast Boy and stuff, and it became kind of real normalized, I think, through that. I don't know if anybody cites that,
Yeah.
but something you would see more in anime. But
Our love had a lot
it
to
really
do.
started happening more in our stuff around that time. And so when Turtles started, I kind of in my original presentation, I showed April was a different person than than what turned out in the show. I created her as an emotional surrogate for all four of the turtles because where my original pitch started was that Splinter had passed away and that the turtles leave the sewer for the first time in their lives because of this. And they happened to meet this girl. So they all kind of fell for her in their own way, whether it was because she was a genius or she was creative or she was funny. They all gravitated to her for one of those specific things, but it was like, very family still too, because it was like one girl, four turtles. So they were just family. As it evolved, I don't know exactly who mandated, but it could have just been a natural development where we're just like, she's just, all right, one of them has to like her. And it was the most unassuming one. And we made it Donatello.
Yeah, so goofy.
Because he was, it just works because he was awkward. Like he would, stumble, like he's a genius and he could do anything, but he was all thumbs when it came to ladies. So, or affairs of his heart. So we kind of went with that. But then, over time, the one that came right away, right after, which I thought we could mine a lot more from, because it was drama based, was that Leo was into Karai. And there was this whole thing, and the fans would know this, but I'll just say it anyway. But there's this idea that, Leo is being raised by Splinter, and Splinter going back, his like blood brother and life enemy now is the Shredder. And unbeknownst to him, this girl that he has a crush on is the daughter of Shredder. So he falls in love. He gets a crush on his enemy's daughter, but then, which is his enemy too. But then later comes to realize she was actually adopted by the enemy, and she was really his father's daughter. So she's like his stepsister, which became, was this added layer of taboo. It was like you have good versus evil, and then you have interspecies relationships, and now you have someone who's like now actually kind of like your sister, and the fans, just the way that evolved, it was great. Like, we needed something in the writing room to really hold on to that was, based on emotion and desire, but also like entrenched in fear and violence and fighting and it just wrote itself for seasons. It was one of the best parts of the show. Whereas, Donatello just for a long time kept fumbling with April, and eventually he kind of lost April to Casey Jones, who was like, he was like a sped up, 17-year-old boy.
Classic West Side Story.
Yeah, I know. It's like you're trying to be the good guy for so long with this girl you really love, and then some random dude just comes in and takes her away. That's the thing you learn when you're 16.
Real life.
Over.
And you cast him perfectly as well. Joshua Peck up to play.
Yeah. I love Josh as that role. I originally wanted Josh to be Leo, and it just, because we were looking for a dynamic of how the 4 voice actors would sound, which is very specific. You can't just go, well, I love this guy for one. It's like, what's the vibe with all 4 of these actors together? So those roles kept switching around, with Greg always being the center of the 4. Like, so it was like, who could we build off of Cipes that would work? And we ended up rotating like several Rafts and several Leos. And, I think it got easier once. I think Rob was the second in, and then Sean was the third, and it all fell into place really quick. But anyway, I don't want that.
Sean.
The ship, yeah, there's
Papa
lots of
Sean. Oh my God. Just speaking
So
of angels, Sean Astin is one of the
We should
most
bring him
amazing-
on.
Yes,
Oh, Sean's
absolutely.
great.
Yeah, that'd
You
be fun.
definitely should.
I love all these stories. All the chances that you took paid off. I mean, we know that in the nerd world, you put something out, and if it's like a faux pas and the fans are like, ah, and you have to be brave to put out these concepts. I mean, I can't tell you how much shit I got for the Killing Joke, which, by the way, I loved so much, and people were so mad. I'm like, what are you mad about? Give Batgirl a cool fucking thing to do. She's a grown up. It's not his daughter. But anyway, I'm going to cause a whole more ruckus online. Anyway, you took a big chance and it was a huge success. Are you guys done or is it still going?
We did 5 seasons, like 124 episodes, and we wrapped. There was like, I think at that time there was management changing, and the woman who was in charge of Nickelodeon at the time came to me and said, well, it's been 5 seasons, and this is what you do with big franchises. You reinvent them every 5 seasons. So
Right.
thanks. And they went like, do you want to do the next one? And I said, well, no love lost for Turtles, but love lost for my boys. So like, I can't do it. Like I gave everything. So I didn't really think, and to be fair to the franchise, like I think you want someone new that wants to put their all into it, not someone who put their all into it and now is like on vapors trying to figure out what to do different, So I appreciate the other versions. I just couldn't do another one right off the heels of that. That's crazy.
It's funny that it's sort of a because I sort of had a peek behind the curtain with what Ciro was doing and what Nickelodeon was developing, and as it was starting. But on the front lines with the fans, anytime you mess with anything, even the slightest little bit, I started getting letters like, "Oh,
Yeah.
You're ruining my childhood. I can't believe you gotta
Oh
do
my
this."
God, the death threats start coming. And
Yeah, but I just kept going, dude. People, you've got to see this series. It's got so much character, so much heart, so much soul. I mean, I said, all your favorite essence that, again, coming from somebody that grew up as a fan, he's put together this team of people that want to do it right. And they, Ciro so quickly, obviously identified the heart and soul of the family aspect. And to me, the changes making Splinter taller, and even the little 5 on April shirt, and making her like the sister, the 5th unofficial 5th turtle, and then the different elements coming in from so many turtle universes. The stories were always solid, and they were always strong, and always very heartfelt and very funny. And there was a lot of chances, in my opinion, that were taken, because there were some really fucked up episodes you did, Ciro. But at the same time, you, as the series grew, and as soon as people started watching that first season, all that little, "Oh, you've ruined my childhood," completely went away. They became huge fans. And then,
I love
Isn't that
that.
amazing?
I know. I love when creativity can run free. I love that so much, and that you two trusted each other and came together for this. It's just a beautiful, beautiful story. Greg, do you want to ask your question?
Yes. Ship, marry, kill someone in the turtledom.
So it can either be who you would ship or who you ship as a couple, like who you personally would ship or who you'd like to see in relationship. There are 2 ways to answer this
And
question.
marry and kill.
Yep, within the
Okay.
TMNT world.
Oh, geez. All right. On the fly? Oh, my gosh. Oh, it's so hard. I should have
Go
been
ahead,
prepared for
Greg,
this.
you go first.
I just, for me, there's just, it's such a hard question.
It's your question on your show.
Who would I? All right, I ship Ice Cream Kitty, okay? Because I love Ice Cream Kitty. I love Ice Cream Kitty. There's a whole deep story where Ciro's cats at the time inspired the character Ice Cream Kitty, and I loved his cats so much. I would take care of them while Ciro was sleeping under the desk at Nickelodeon making the show from day one.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would go feed the cats, and Ice Cream Kitty, I ship Ice Cream Kitty. She's the nectar of the universe. She's my wingman in that reality. I gotta grab Wingman before the show's over so y'all can say hi to him too.
Yeah, say hi to Wingman.
He's laying in the sun.
Oh.
On the balcony. But yeah, so I ship Ice Cream Kitty. Marry.
I know who would marry.
Who?
I would like to see Rocksteady and Bebop marry. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh man,
I think they're sweet together. I don't know. They're like peas in a pod. So
I hate making decisions and choices.
This is your game.
Let's move on to Ciro. He's already got one figured out.
Who are you going to kill? Wait, who are you going to kill in the universe, Greg?
I don't believe in that.
Well, then why'd you make a game?
Okay, the Shredder, because he took out Splinter in our series, and that was one of the craziest things ever. People were like, "Holy crap! They killed Splinter in the Turtle show."
Okay.
So Shredder.
Ciro. Okay, got it. Go ahead, Ciro.
So marry Rocksteady Bebop. Ship. I'm gonna say. Fudge, man. I mean, it's just we did so much shipping on the show that it's just Michelangelo and Renette. Like, I like that ship.
I do too. Don't talk about that around Tara though. She gets jealous. Don't talk about other ships around Tara with any character.
I'm sorry. That was literally what I was going to say because I love.
Go ahead.
Because I love Renette as that was one of the. I created Renette just for the Cerebus Turtle crossover, and what you did with her in the series, and what we did with them in the IDW series and stuff was just perfect. And I could just see Michelangelo and Renette together because they would just have the best time ever, all day long, every day. It would just be fantastic. So.
I like shipping Greg Cipes with Ashley Johnson. So anytime I cast those two characters,
guys, I'm gonna mute Ciro now.
I told you she gets jealous.
Yeah, I worked with Stan Lee and he was so amazing and he was just so vibrant, and I was like, what is your secret? And he said, always do what you love, get paid to do what you love and never ever retire. And when I asked him what it was like to have a brain that came up with so many iconic characters, he said I really had a great team. He was just really modest and awesome. Okay, anyways, we need to know the rest of this Ship, Marry, Kill. Who do you guys want to kill?
There was a character on the show I didn't like. His name was Pigeon Pete.
Pigeon Pete.
He ended up not coming back. Oh. But we don't talk about it. There's a part of the show where they go, well, we don't talk about what happened to Pigeon Pete.
Right.
We didn't want to show it. We just there he is. But we kind of replaced him with another character named Mondo Gecko, who I thought was rad. So
he was rad, dude.
In a way, I think Mondo Gecko killed Pigeon Pete.
Mondo Gecko ate him, dude. And now
another character I wanted named Pete Pigeon, which is a very different character. And if I could show you drawings, you'd understand. But one's a man that you would see going into a 7-Eleven, who forgot his T-shirt, and the other one is a bird. So it's there were two different ideas, and I don't know.
No, it's funny because I always loved the parallels between some of the stuff because some of the stuff that was crossing over between the IDW comic series that Tom and I were doing. We did 100 episodes, and what you were doing on the show because there were some parallels, and they would say we brought Pigeon Pete in as part of the Mutanimals, and I love Pigeon Pete. We were doing this stuff, so we were doing stuff around the same time. When I'd say, "Hey, Ciro, this is what we're doing in the comic," and you're like, "Don't tell me," because I think you didn't want it to affect some of the stuff that you were doing there. But it was even right up until we've been trying to get Usagi Yojimbo onto the IDW series, and you were fighting the same fight. Working with the legal teams and all the stuff to get Usagi Yojimbo onto the series that you were doing, and those 3 episodes are just I always kept saying that you need to do that as release it as a movie. I mean, I know that I don't know, just felt it was such a great and powerful series. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of a movie, it felt like every episode was a movie. That's what I loved about our series together. Every episode was like a movie. It looked like a movie, especially when it first came out. It was by far the best looking CG animated show on TV, period. And that had so much to do with the originality that you all Ciro got to truly find inspiration from his deep love for the turtles and keeping it authentic as possible and bringing all dimensions, the dark, the light, into a show that would be palatable by, a Nickelodeon audience. And he nailed it over and over and over. And I think at one point, Nickelodeon was actually worth less. TMNT, the brand, was worth more than Nickelodeon as a company. Just the brand was worth more than Nickelodeon altogether. And they bought it for whatever the price was, for $70 million. And there was a toy sold every second, I think, or something like
every
that.
For 4 seconds, I think, is what it was. For a long period of time, a turtle figure sold. It was a turtle figure sold every 4 seconds for like over a year.
That's crazy. I was gonna say, you guys put more into a single cartoon episode than some of the recent movies. So,
I helped a little bit. Like, I consulted a little bit on that first movie, and it was difficult. I mean, I met at the front, and then they showed it to me 4 weeks before it came out, and they were like, okay, we need help. What do you think? And I said, I think you should have asked me about a year ago. It was like a little, and all they could afford was voiceover to fix it. And I was like, oh, sweet Jesus.
They asked me to consult on the first one, and it was in my opinion,
the Jim Henson movie or the Michael Bay thing?
The two Michael Bay, 2014, 2016. But they were like
Henson.
But no, my movies were
your movies
was like their perfect roadmap to do the opposite. It was like one of those things. I said, well, I don't think you should do that, and they go, okay, that's exactly what we're going to do. And
it was weird, right?
It was challenging. It was a challenging process. It was some, it's good to see Bebop and Rocksteady on the big screen and stuff.
Yeah,
it is what it is. No. I always say to fans, it's like there's some versions of the Turtles I like more. There's some I like a little less, but I love them all.
But it's the essence. The essence is there. The turtledom is real. Anything having to do with the Ninja Turtles is truly a positive vibration, and it does resonate throughout the whole universe eternally, as long as the Earth's around. And it'll probably be on spaceships soon too, off of Earth. And you're gonna be on other planets really soon too. Everyone, it's so cool. You got to voice Ice Cream Kitty, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was one of those things that Ciro had said, for a while he said, it'd be great to have you do a voice of a character, whether it be, maybe a good guy or bad guy or something like that. And he was showing drawings at one San Diego Comic-Con of different characters that they were exploring. And when he showed the picture of Ice Cream Kitty, I told him afterwards, I said, I want to do that because it kind of reminded me of Clunk in the Michelangelo Christmas comic that we did back in the day at Mirage. But I said, it's kind of like George Clooney doing the dog on South Park or something. I said, it's kind of funny, but to me, I thought, Ice Cream Kitty was the coolest character. I said, I really, really, really want to be Ice Cream Kitty. And he's like, no. And I'm like, no, really, I really want to be Ice Cream Kitty.
I love that you did it. It's just, he just meows. So it's like, meows in pain. So it was actually funny. I was just surprised. Like, you just want to be a cat?
Yeah, perfect. I love that.
It was Clunk, really. Like, it was like I had always wanted Clunk in the show, and the original writers fought me on it, and we ended up with Spike, who was like a pet turtle, which I thought was brilliant too. But I had Clunk FOMO throughout the series, so eventually we got Ice Cream Kitty, which is great.
Oh, I love Ice Cream. You got to watch the music video if you haven't watched it. It's on YouTube, and we could probably
show awesome
during this Ship It show. Awesome. Ice Cream Kitty song is amazing. But let's talk a little bit about how the 2012 series wrapped up, as far as how Nickelodeon put it out and how it was supposed to end as well. Because I think a lot of people they always ask me that question at cons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like,
"What's the question?"
They're like, "Was it out of order?"
Oh yeah, it's totally out of order. That's true because we had done a bunch, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. We had done a bunch of episodes that were like standalone stories, right? For season 5, we had done like maybe 4 or 5 different 3-parter stories. That was the whole season, and the idea was that we would explore stories in between or out of the timeline, but not necessarily not canon, which is a big thing, which is probably what you're talking about. And so the very last story was something where It was what I used to refer to as After the Bomb, which was inspired by a role-playing Turtles game from the 80s, where basically there was a nuclear explosion and now nothing's left except a bunch of anthropomorphic animals, and the Turtles could exist in this universe. But we retrofitted it to be a Krang story, and basically in the apocalypse, 50 years in the future, only Raph is alive. And we thought, yeah, that's how the show ends, because that's the end of time. And Nickelodeon went, that's fine. They didn't care. And we definitely got support from everybody creatively. It's just, the people that do the programming, which is when the shows air, decided that was not a good idea. So they made a random storyline, which I thought was more of a throwaway. It's not that it was bad. It was just, there wasn't much in it except, hashing out stuff that's already known, and 80s stuff where it was a story where the Turtles teamed up with the 80s Turtles, which I liked. But I think, as a press stunt, they can market it better. Like, it's, our Turtles meet the 80s Turtles. So they made that the last shows that aired, but they're technically not if you look at a timeline, they're not the last shows. So
why I bring it up though is because they were so epic. The 4-parter, the ending, the whole, it was just so visceral, and just, it really was amazing. I hope everybody gets the chance to see it. I think it was so, you went all out, dude. You got to go all out.
I did. We went all out. I mean, my team was insane. Like, I tasked them, I remember sitting in the room being like, we have to create an entire George Miller, like Mad Max reality, like including cars and motorcycles and tribes of like mutant aliens or mutant animals, and all new turtle models because they're 50 years older. And like, how are we going to do this? How can we afford it? How do we cheat it? And it was a lot of cheating, but it was a lot of hard work, and it was basically rated R. It was really intense. I have an alternate cut where like Sean Astin's cursing through the thing, which my editor conveniently lost on the Nickelodeon server. And I was like, "Fuck." But yeah, it was awesome. I remember, Kevin, I don't know if you were there. We did a screening at the studio, and I know all the actors came and the execs were all there, and I screened that uncut version. But I put trailers in the front of like all my favorite like post-apocalyptic 70s exploitation films, and it was a great time. That was my last great time at Nick.
Yeah, no, you invited us up. I think we were on the road at that time, but that was
yeah.
I thought that series was. There he is, Wingman in the house,
dude. The nectar of the universe in my hands right here.
He looked so peaceful, like he's bestowing his wisdom and his thoughts and his positivity on you through the screen.
Isn't it amazing what Buddha can do?
Yes.
He's pure presence.
What's he thinking about?
Well, he's literally, I praise him all day. I introduce people to him and they become his dog devotees. And I'm launching this religion in Venice Beach right now, dogism, and it's just a natural fit to just let people like connect with God through the service of dog. And Wingman is doing magical works, connecting people to their higher self, which basically is pure presence. At this most recent like con that I went to in Nashville, and in the Q&A, Wingman's always in my lap and he travels with me everywhere. And this little girl, she gets on the mic and she's about 6 years old, and she goes, what was the name of the first dog on Earth? And I was like, oh, wow, what a question. What's the name of the first dog on Earth? And immediately I just took that in. And the universe told me immediately, presence, because dog is God's presence. And I just knew that was the name of the first dog on Earth, is presence. So that child helped bring that realization in. And again, I love that you all love Wingman so much. That means you all know what's really going on. So thank you. All glories to Wingman G. Bless you.
I mean, maybe the first dog was called like Rough or
that.
Or
that. I don't know
Rex
anything, but I do know
Buster or Ninja Turtle. My internet is so shoddy, and I just want to make sure we get everything for the fans who are dying for it. So before I go, I just want to make sure you both tell everyone anything you have up and coming that you want to promote, or any charities that you love, and where we can find you on social media.
For me, it's if you want to find anything you want to find out about me, go to kevineastmanstudios.com. That tells everything. Fans find us there, and there's Instagram, MySpace, classmates.com. What's the other one? Twitter. No, I think we're up on a bunch of those other ones. But right now I'm working on a series called The Last Ronin, which is based on a story that Pete and I wrote in 1987. I spent about a year updating. It was set 30 years in the future in 1987, so it was set in 2017. I spent a year updating it throughout 2018, and then Tom Waltz and I, using those original 20 pages of notes, that have adapted into a 5-part 40-page series. It's been received by the fans really well, and that's all we could ever.
The Last Ronin.
I've been reading Last Ronin, and it's kind of amazing. It's beautiful. It's really like I don't read all the new Turtle books, but I do read the ones every once in a while. I pick one up, and it lines right up with the stuff like the old Mirage series that I followed closely as a kid, and it's just like this one's definitely a huge landmark in the fandom of in the whole compendium of Turtles. It's awesome.
By the way, Wingman never watches the Ship It show like this.
He's totally he's hypnotized.
Should he meet my cat? Hold on.
Yeah, he's looking at his Uncle Ciro, who we haven't seen in person in so long. His Uncle Kev, Mama Tara, his fiance. He's like mesmerized. He's like, "Am I dreaming?"
There's Wolfie. Hey, Wolfie, say hi to your cousin Wingman G.
Hi. Wingman's got a kitty sister next door named Exene. She's a Russian Mancoon supermodel, and they
beautiful.
Yeah, they love each other.
That's
Tara,
awesome.
I don't have much going on right now. I wish I could talk about it. It's the problem with working in entertainment industry. You have projects going on, and you can't say what they are and maybe where they are. But right now I am in my garage every day storyboarding a pilot for a new series that I've been developing for about 2 years. And hopefully it goes, or it might not go. And then I'll talk shit about it next year.
It's going, dude.
I like it. It's actually, what's funny, I can say a little bit about it. It's the origin story of me and liking Kevin's comics and how that helped me make Ninja Turtles. This show's kind of about that. So it's like a prequel to the Turtles show. It's weird. Has to do a lot. There's a lot of pizza in it, and there's a lot of comic books in it. And aside from that, I'm on Instagram. My handle is still Super Robot 74. I drop artwork every once in a while, but again, the art I make is private, so I can't show it because I'm under contract. But I do other stuff. Eventually, I show on there. And,
you also put out an amazing Turtles book recently, right? Wasn't there?
Yeah, last year I put out the Art of the Turtles book. That was really kind of awesome. Kevin wrote the foreword for that.
Yeah.
But right now I'm just reading Last Ronin.
That's what's up.
And just staying healthy. It's been great.
Great to hear.
Yeah. Kevin, Ciro, I just love you both so much. Thank you so much for being on the Ship It show.
Wait.
I'm just giving praise to them. We're not done with it. I don't want this ever. And I was gonna ask, can we just go on and on and on and on? I just want to keep talking about stories.
I don't mind going on.
I know one of my regrets. I have no regrets in life, but one of the regrets I have, honestly, is Kevin asked me to be the priest at his wedding, and I was on tour and I couldn't do it, and that's one of the things I regret. And I just thank you, and I love you so much for even thinking of me to be in your life in that way.
You were there spiritually, and you blessed it from afar. So
thank you.
Meant the same to us, and so I think what we should do is we should do a part 2, so we can let's sign off and wish everybody peace, love, and happiness and good health. And we're all going to get the world's going to be a better place in a couple months. But either way, we should all get together and talk again. Like to hear more what everybody's doing. Tara, Greg, everybody, let's all get together and chat again.
Oh, this has been so special. Ciro, are you on
Instagram?
I'm on Instagram. I'm at Super Robot 74. That's who I am. It's one word, Super Robot 74. Because I created Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go.
Woo! On Disney Plus right now, you can check it out. It's pretty good. It's
I guess
you're
the
ahead of
other
its
thing that's
time.
coming up around the corner, guys, is that 2012 show turns 10 years next year. So
Wow.
God willing, we should at least have a huge party. We can do it online so all of our fans can come,
That'd be
or I'll
cool.
do it in person, hopefully.
No,
And but I would love to make something. Like it'd be cool, even if it's just like Kevin, maybe we should jam on an IDW one shot or short or something, or convince the people at Nick to do a video. I don't know, but like TMNT 2012 in 2022, 10 years. That's a milestone right there.
fresh.
And
So fresh.
you know, I've been vegan for a long time. I know Greg is too, and I want everybody to kind of really think about
Me
what
too,
they
me
put in their
too.
bodies. Yeah, you know, it's like, you know, every little bit we can do helps, guys. And
Good
you know,
message.
what you put into yourself defines you, and it also changes our world. So, like, you know, there's a lot of pain in what's happening with our food, and in animal agriculture is kind of part of what's hurting the planet. So it's a huge, it's like the biggest part of what's destroying our world. So let's
Agreed.
let's get right or get left. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up. Don't let your body be a graveyard. But Wingman is a killer. Like this, his digestive system is different than the humans. Like we're not even supposed to
Yeah,
have it.
no, of course. I mean, we're
Wingman
not
is a
animals.
killer. We're a different kind of animal. We're definitely
Right.
animals. I'm an
But the
animal.
world's changed. We can source our food differently now. We
I
don't,
know.
you know, the argument of
No
being a
question.
predator doesn't count anymore for us. Like
No,
we have
survival.
supermarkets. Let's grow up here a little bit.
And plant-based food tastes so good. I'm like 2 days in a row vegan pizzas, and I have another one being made for me right now. My neighbor's like making me a big pizza, so I've been pizzaing out over and over.
Yeah.
Actually, the last Shipper show we did, I couldn't take it out of my mouth. I did half of the show with pizza, vegan pizza in my mouth, but vegan pizza these days is so good. So I would love for hopefully one of the next versions of the Turtles that comes out, because hopefully it'll never end. I know it won't. Michelangelo gets to become a vegan, or one of the turtles gets to become vegans, or all of them, because turtles are actually vegetarians. Turtles are vegans, not even vegetarians. So it would be cool to kind of bring that into it and play with that at some point.
Well, a little tidbit about those turtles. They grew up. I mean, the reason they grew underground as well as they did was that Donatello was cultivating like chlorophyll ponds for them to. That's how they were eating like chlorophyll pizza and stuff like as kids. So.
I do. I put spirulina on everything. It's so wild.
It's funny, like for people that eat meat. I don't want to get into this too deep, but like they season all their food to make it taste better with vegetables.
Yeah.
So just saying.
Nobody would eat a raw cow. Nobody would just eat a piece of pig. Greg and I are huge vegan activists, and it makes so much sense. You know, people just don't really want to look at what the truth is and what really is happening. I think if they really looked at it, it's like you're eating sadness and torture and pain, and it's so true. If you put into your body whole foods, we save the planet, we save ourselves. Thank you so much for giving us so much of your time today.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, it was awesome.
And I would love to actually find a turtle sanctuary fund that we can raise funds for during the Ship It show, because when we do go live, everybody gets to actually offer money to go to an organization. So we've always wanted to give back to the turtles more, the real turtles on planet Earth. So we should
find a couple links on our site.
There you go. Perfect.
Well, listen, guys, until part 2.
Yes.
Great spending some time with you today. Can't wait till we do it again. Big love and hugs to you all, and let's talk super soon. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
I love this. All right. See you guys.
Bye, Ciro.
Beastie, I'm so happy you knew something today. You did great, kid.
I don't want it to ever end. I have so much more to talk to them
about. It was really special. It was really special. The turtles mean so much to so many people. So thank you to our amazing guests and the fans that join us. And Beastie, thank you today for knowing something.
Yeah, I know a lot of stuff about nothing.
All you shippers, make sure you subscribe, you like, you share. And this is just the tip of the turtle show.
Just the tip.
Maybe I said that wrong. Just the tip of the shell,
the tip of the
tail. Anyways, a lot more turtles coming on the Ship It show, that's for sure.